Over the last few years, especially since having my daughter, I've really embraced a more simplified lifestyle. Sometimes I refer to it as simple living, sometimes I call it suburban homesteadish, or even just an heirloom skill lifestyle. But really, the point that I tried to underscore here is that you can have a simple and old fashioned life in the middle of modernity, no matter where you live. I want to underscore that I'm not suggesting that we revert back to different times. We are here right now, and it's the only place we can be. But I do believe that honing timeless skills and traditions can help us feel more connected to our day to day and can even help us build connections with others. Now, in case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I am making sourdough burger buns. You can get this recipe over at moonandmagnolia.com. But for me, sourdough was really what I call the gateway drug to much of my simple living lifestyle. What I like so much about this suburban lifestyle that I'm living that incorporates more simple living or heirloom skills is that it doesn't have to be complicated. Bread, for example, doesn't require big land. It doesn't require a farmhouse. Anybody can bake bread anywhere you live. And though it might seem dramatic, what sourdough really taught me is that simple living is attainable no matter where you live because you don't need anything fancy to make bread. Making something from scratch, like these sourdough burger buns, is practical and satisfying and definitely delicious. But it's also about the joy of making something from scratch and using my hands. And that's why I am really loving Craftsy right now, who is sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative. It's a community of makers where you can find inspiration, grow your skills, and try something new. 2 times now, I have taken in-person sewing classes, but after the class is over, I always have more questions, but there's no one to ask. But what I like about Craftsy is I can revisit the lessons anytime and connect with other community members when I need a little more help. One of the classes I'm really enjoying right now is Kristen Link's Bag Making Basics. In this class, she shows you how to make a drawstring bag, which I think is perfect for a sourdough bread bag or handmade gifts, and you can learn how in just 5 short lessons. The other day, my neighbor had a baby and I made her a loaf of sourdough bread, but I didn't have anything to put the bread in. I really wish I would have had something just like this to tuck it into, so now I'm going to make a few extras to keep around so that way I can use them for easy handmade gift giving. The other class I'm really excited about is fresh quilting. I've always wanted to learn how to quilt, but the local quilting classes never align with my schedule. So now with Craftsy, I can learn how to quilt at my convenience. And right now, the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description box below can join Craftsy for just $1.49 for the entire year. This offer is for new members only. I love Craftsy and I know you will too, and thank you so much again to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. We'll get back to those sourdough burger buns in just a few minutes, but first, what I'm doing here is making a really simple breakfast. And when we're talking about old-fashioned living in the suburbs or creating some sort of simple living lifestyle, what I often lean on first is really easy cooking. And I've talked about this a lot on YouTube, but it is always true. So this is one of my favorite spring and early summer meals where I just toast up some sourdough in a cast iron skillet. And then I am slicing some tomatoes from my garden. These are actually really tiny tomatoes. We had a lot of rainfall and one of my tomato plants died. So I took the tomatoes off of it. I'm letting them ripen in the house. So they're just these tiny little tomatoes. But in any case, I'm just toasting that bread up on both sides. And then I'm slathering it with a little bit of mayo, putting on some salt and pepper on that mayo first, and then layering it with those homegrown tomatoes, and then salt and pepper again. So I like to layer the salt and pepper so that way you get a little bit of seasoning in every bite. But this is delicious, and it really underscores how simple our lives can be, but yet so rewarding and satisfying. I think sometimes old-fashioned living, when you're looking through it from the suburban lens, it gets a little mixed up with reverting to a different time or letting go of our possessions or renouncing technology, but we don't do any of that at all. For me, the greatest pleasures come from really simple things, like a delicious meal made from scratch, having a small garden, and just enjoying the simple pleasures of the day-to-day. one of the best ways to cultivate a sense of old-fashioned or simple living in the suburbs, or even if you live in an apartment, is to find some way to have a garden. And it doesn't have to be huge. I have had gardens of various sizes over the year. Currently, we live smack dab in like the cookie cutter style suburban neighborhood, and we have an eighth of an acre of land, which includes the footprint of our house. So we have 4 large raised beds in the back, and then I also have a hobby greenhouse. But in the past, all I had was a little patio and a townhome, and I've done a lot of container gardening over the years. But for sure, when you have a garden and you can grow a little bit of your own food, or if you can grow just a couple beautiful cut flowers, it feels so good and it's so rewarding. And these are the things that I think start to build community and connection. You can share your produce with your neighbors and your friends. You can trade your produce with your neighbors. You can create beautiful flower arrangements and give them as gifts. And I think this is so important right now. It's really been weighing on me a lot lately how disconnected we are from our communities and our families and other human beings. When I was a kid, I knew everybody in my neighborhood. And now in my mid 40s in 2025, I don't know anybody in my neighborhood. I don't even see anybody in my neighborhood. So I've been trying to make a better effort to share my produce. I just gave a neighbor some tomatoes and basil. I just shared a slice of peach pie, which I'll actually show you how to make later in this video with a neighbor to help start building that old-fashioned human connection. Now, just as a side note, it's technically, I think, a little too early to harvest that elephant garlic, but some of it had already died back because it just wasn't doing that well. So I just decided to pull all of our elephant garlic so I can use the rest of that bed for more cut flowers. If you are brand new to gardening and you don't know where to begin, I really recommend just starting with a few herbs. They're really easy to grow, they're prolific, and you can do a lot with them. Of course, you can eat them, but also I'm growing Thai basil in my greenhouse, for example, and it is making the most beautiful, simple arrangements. In fact, in this video right here, you can see in that white picture, that is just plain old Thai basil that I put in a picture, and it's so beautiful and it's so aromatic. So herbs are a great place to start. I am making a really simple scratch-made tomato soup with canned tomatoes from last year. I actually showed how to can a year's worth of tomatoes last year on YouTube. I will leave a link for that in the description box. But I'm simply just sauteing an onion, throwing in, I think that was 2 jars of crushed tomatoes that I canned, and then a jar of home canned turkey broth, bringing it to a boil, and then just letting it simmer and reduce down. Tomato soup is really nostalgic for me. I don't know why. It always makes me think of my grandmother, and she died when I was pretty young, so I don't have a lot of memories of my grandmother, but there's something about it that just brings back memories of my grandmother and creates those connections. So when you're thinking about ways of cultivating an old-fashioned lifestyle, I encourage you to think about the nostalgia of your childhood, the things that your grandparents cooked you or your parents cooked you or that you loved eating, and then incorporate them into your life now. Because I think in 2025, we have become so disconnected from the life that once was, but we can bring that back into our lives and into our homes and even share them with our family and our friends. I do think it is important, though, to reduce the pressure when we're thinking about old-fashioned or simple living, because I think it can get really easy to get wrapped up in doing everything by hand and making everything from scratch. And I am pairing this scratch-made tomato soup with a store-bought spinach salad. And it is totally fine to do those sorts of things, to make a scratch-made soup and pair it with something store-bought, because it really is the only way I think most of us can sustain. So when I'm talking about developing an old-fashioned lifestyle, I'm not suggesting that you overhaul your life. It's really about ways that you can weave simple living into your day-to-day in ways that are accessible and tangible and meaningful. My husband recently got a new pellet grill and he's been smoking everything on it, which has been pretty awesome because I think it's cut my cooking back like 50%, which is pretty amazing. But I can't stress enough how important it is to just get outside, whether it means you're cooking outside or gardening or taking a walk, but just getting that fresh air is a reconnection to an old-fashioned way of life when we actually weren't staring at screens and we spent time outside. Another way that I encourage you to maybe think about old-fashioned living is to pick a simple skill to learn. The thing about these sorts of heirloom skills is that they require practice and they require you to hone that skill. So it's really about letting go of that instant gratification and diving into something new and learning how to do it. And for me right now, that is making pie. Homemade pie is a brand new endeavor for me, and I am making a sourdough peach pie with canned peaches. So these are peaches that I canned last year. So I always get a bunch of peaches from South Carolina, and then I can a year's worth of them. So for this first, I just drained the peaches and got as much liquid out as I could, and then I blotted them dry because you don't want too much liquid in that pie. And then I'm just adding in brown sugar, cornstarch, a little bit of lemon juice, cinnamon, and nutmeg, and mixing it together. Now, the night before, I made 2 sourdough pie crusts, and this recipe will be on my blog over at moonandmagnolia.com soon. So I pulled them out of the fridge, I'd say like 20 or 30 minutes before I wanted to roll them. And actually my husband rolled this for me, which was super nice of him. He can roll a perfect circle and I cannot. But in any case, so I put the first pie in there and then I put it in the freezer while I continued making this pie. Now, when I'm putting the filling in, I'm using a slotted spoon to help drain some of that liquid out. I'm relatively new to making pie, but I'm not new to making pie filling. But this is my first time ever doing a lattice pie crust, and I am hooked. My husband saw my face when I made this lattice pie crust, and he just said, uh-oh, because he knows it is game on. We are about to have a ton of pies in our house. So once I had that lattice pie crust done, I gave it a little egg wash and put it in the oven. And this was so delicious. I cannot believe how good it turned out. Honestly, I'm really proud of my first from scratch pie from top to bottom. But my point here is not so much about the pie, but that this is a skill that I can learn how to make different types of pie crusts. I'm really excited about learning different types of lattice patterns and decorating a pie. That these are these old-fashioned skills that I can incorporate into my modern life, and it's so fun. And again, like I've been saying in this video, it is so satisfying to hone these timeless skills. These are skills that our grandparents and our great-grandparents and generations even before them were perfecting. And when we are learning them, we are bringing these timeless skills of the past into our modern lifestyle. And it doesn't require you to let go of anything that you're already doing or that you already have. It just fits into the world in which we already live in. Of course, you do have to make time to do them, and you do have to make time to learn them, but that's also part of the process that makes it so enjoyable. Okay, so back to the sourdough burger bun. So I mixed the dough the day before and I let it bulk ferment for about 12 hours on my countertop. And then before I went to bed, I covered it with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. And now I'm just dividing and shaping them. So one of the things about homemade burger buns that I hear people say a lot, and I've experienced with other recipes, is that they're just really bready and dry. So this recipe uses a whole stick of butter and it does use an egg and some sugar, which helps tenderize that bread a little bit. So these are super soft burger buns, and they are, I think, probably the best homemade burger buns I have had. I shaped 4 for burgers, and then the remaining dough I was experimenting with shaping for hot dogs because we are cooking out this weekend. We're just having some burgers and dogs and corn on the cob. If you are thinking about ways to create a sense of old-fashioned living in a modern lifestyle, I really think sourdough is one of the best ways to do it because it is so easy to tailor to your schedule. Putting that dough in the fridge puts the fermentation on pause, and I can leave it in there for up to 3 days before I even worry about shaping and proofing these buns. Or if you need to speed up the fermentation or proofing process, you can put your dough somewhere warmer, like on top of the stove or even in a proofing box. And I think it's really important for us when we are incorporating simple living to find those avenues where we can start tailoring and manipulating the process to meet our needs. Because the reality is we do live in 2025. We are not going to be able to escape that. And we are really busy. All of us are so busy. So to be able to incorporate old-fashioned living into our lives, we have to find ways that work for us. I hope this video inspired you to think about ways that you can simplify your life and to incorporate some old-fashioned timeless skills into your day-to-day. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again next time.